In November 2024, a shocking crime in Lancaster, California, stunned the Filipino American community. 4 young lives were tragically cut short in a brutal attack that left authorities, family members, and the public searching for answers. The victims, Christine Aca-ac, 26, her younger brother Janvi Maquindang, 21, Edwin Garcia, 24, and Matthew Montebello, were found dead inside a burning home. The case took an even darker turn when 19-year-old Miguel Sandoval was arrested and charged with their murders. Authorities believe he not only killed them in cold blood, but also set the house on fire in an attempt to cover up the crime. As investigations continue, questions about the motive and circumstances surrounding this horrific incident remain. This article explores the full story, including the backgrounds of the victims, the timeline of events, the suspect's arrest, and the impact on the community. Each of the 4 victims had a bright future ahead of them. They were young, full of ambition, and deeply connected to their Filipino heritage. Christine was a caring and determined woman who had dreams of becoming a nurse. She had recently gotten engaged to Edwin Garcia, and they were planning their future together. Friends described her as compassionate and hardworking, always looking out for her family. Janvi, Christine's younger brother, was pursuing a degree in business administration. He had a love for music and often played guitar for friends and family. He was known for his humor and kindness. His girlfriend, Matthew Montebello, was also one of the victims. Edwin was Christine's fiancé, and the two had been together for years. He worked as a software engineer and had recently landed a new job that he was excited about. He and Christine had plans to start a family. Matthew, Janvi's partner, was an artist with a passion for photography and digital design. He and Janvi had been dating for over a year, and their relationship was filled with love and creativity. On the night of the murders, the victims were inside Christine and Edwin's home in Lancaster, California. It was supposed to be a fun night among close friends and family. Sometime between 11:30 p.m. and 2 a.m., Miguel Sandoval allegedly entered the home. Investigators believe he was armed and had a plan to kill. What happened next was brutal. Each victim was shot multiple times before the suspect set fire to the house. At around 2:15 a.m., neighbors reported seeing flames and smoke coming from the home. Firefighters arrived quickly and managed to put out the fire. But inside, they found the horrific scene. 4 young people, lifeless, their bodies showing signs of gunshot wounds. At first, authorities thought the fire was accidental, but the discovery of gunshot wounds changed the course of the investigation. This was not an accident. It was a quadruple homicide. Detectives immediately began piecing together what had happened. Several crucial pieces of evidence helped them identify the suspect. Surveillance footage. A nearby security camera captured a vehicle arriving and leaving the crime scene around the time of the murders. The car was later linked to Sandoval. Witness testimonies. Some neighbors recalled seeing a suspicious figure near the house earlier that night. Forensic evidence. Bullet casings recovered at the scene were traced back to a weapon connected to Sandoval. On November 28, 2024, just a few days after the murders, police arrested Miguel Sandoval at his home. Sandoval, just 19 years old, was described by former classmates as quiet, but sometimes aggressive. He had a history of minor criminal activity, but nothing that suggested he was capable of such a brutal crime. While investigators are still uncovering the exact motive, some theories have emerged. Personal conflict. Some reports suggest that Sandoval knew at least one of the victims. There may have been a personal disagreement that escalated into violence. Robbery gone wrong. Another theory is that he intended to rob the home, but was recognized by the victims, leading him to kill them. Gang-related violence. Authorities are also looking into the possibility that Sandoval was connected to gang activity. Sandoval now faces 4 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of arson, and 1 count of burglary. If convicted, he could face the death penalty. The families of the victims have been devastated by the tragedy. Christine and Janvi's parents, who immigrated from the Philippines, described their children as loving, kind, and full of life. Edwin Garcia's family called for justice, saying, "No family should have to go through this pain." In the wake of the murders, the Filipino American community in Lancaster and beyond has rallied together. Hundreds of people attended memorial services to honor the victims. A fundraiser was set up to help the families with funeral expenses and legal fees. As of January 2025, it has raised over $100,000. Several Filipino American organizations have urged local authorities to ensure a thorough investigation and push for justice. They've also used this tragedy to highlight issues like hate crimes and violence in immigrant communities. Sandoval's legal team has pleaded not guilty, claiming that he was wrongly accused. However, prosecutors have built a strong case against him, supported by forensic evidence, witness testimonies, and surveillance footage. The trial is set to begin later in 2025. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty due to the severity of the crime. Key evidence, bullet casings, surveillance footage, and forensic links to Sandoval. Potential defense. His legal team may argue that there isn't enough evidence to prove he was at the crime scene. This case will be closely watched, not just by the victims' families, but also by the wider Filipino American community. The murders of Christine Aca-ac, Janvi Maquindang, Edwin Garcia, and Matthew Montebello were a heartbreaking and senseless tragedy. Their promising futures were stolen in an act of violence that shocked Lancaster and beyond. As the legal process unfolds, their families continue to seek justice and honor their memories. This case serves as a painful reminder of the violence that can strike unexpectedly, but it has also shown the resilience of a community that refuses to forget its lost loved ones. Justice for Christine, Janvi, Edwin, and Matthew